Hi there. All right. So I'm going to try to strike up a conversation. If anybody else is interested out there in figuring this out, please leave a comment. Um, Games, what are they for? People are playing all kinds of video games. Board games are making a huge comeback, at least that I'm seeing, from Euro games and Settlers of Catan kind of leading that charge. And board games are fun. Video games are fun. Gamification is this huge concept that my take on gamification, people start adding, oh, you got an achievement, and they're making everything into a game. Like losing weight has all your apps that try to get you to change your behavior in some way have some kind of gamification. I tend to agree with a professor from Georgia Tech, I think, named Ian Bogos, who calls most gamification exploitationware. And I think that's true because instead of their gamification basically exploits all the characteristics of addiction that kind of hijack our brain's reward circuitry, I think mostly to a negative total effect to get us to keep playing and get addicted and play. So, and I think a lot of people see the big bad parts of games, playing games of all kinds. What I'm curious about are there's got to be something good about games, you know? And Jane McGonigal, I think her name is, mentions that just the sheer amount of gaming hours that some gamers spend on like first person shooters must make them good at something real. Maybe it's hand-eye coordination, maybe it's decision making, maybe it's even teamwork if it's like a space marine game where you have to plot strategies and execute them together with people. So maybe there's that benefit. There's an educational benefit to like simulation games. There are games that you know, airline pilots play that literally have them in a flight simulator before they do it for real. There's currently laparoscopic surgery games that are like that might just get the mechanics of an actual skill or job practiced in a virtual simulation. So simulations have benefit. What other benefits are there? Um, this might seem overlooked, but I mean, kids playing board games and learning things like um, talking to each other, saying please and thank you, taking turns, um, just listening to other people face to face. You know, even if it's playing a game of Sorry, um, that might be pretty important. This is really rough right now, so I'm wondering what other people think if they point to different resources. I have to really. This is just I'm just putting this out there to start the conversation, but I will. What I think Blaise Pascal said that said in some letter like, I'm sorry, I didn't have enough time to make this video shorter. So I'm going to, I promise to take the time to get this more structured, spend more time to get this video shorter onto the points that I think are the most important. But um, why are games good? What's good about them? Can we learn from them? Are they useful use of time? Because I know there's a million ways that they're not useful. Um, Maybe one last idea that they could be good is this idea of transformative games, maybe that teach complicated concepts, entire concepts that through a game you can kind of live through. Um, I don't know. There's this idea like the game Istanbul is a competitive game. You're in a marketplace. You do a lot of different actions to try to race to the finish before anyone else, and it really comes down to seeing what other players are doing. So you're kind of knowing what to do yourself based on what other people are doing. That's a pretty common feature of some competitive games. But what comes out in the game, I think, is a lesson about focus and distraction because there are a lot of things you can do to win the game that are available to all players, and then all the players are doing different things. But trying to do them all and maxing out a specific, everything that's available to you is not a way to win, and you get punished for doing so. So it's a game that through it ends up teaching focus, which I think is good. It's a good little lesson. I don't know how it translates to a broader context of games, but I think Istanbul's lesson of focus trumps distraction is a good one. I mean, right there. It's a board game teaches that focus trumps distraction. And it's not just telling you that that's the case, and it's not just showing you that someone else learned it by telling them their story of how they learned that, oh, I got distracted, focus won the day. By playing it in a game for like an hour, you've lived that lesson. And I know I know Warren Buffett says that learning from mistakes, it's better to learn from other people's mistakes than it is your own. This is true. But a similar, playing a game where you make the mistake in a smaller situation much quicker, um, it's, I think, value-wise, it's equivalent to learning from someone else's mistakes. So perhaps games can teach people to learn from their own mistakes, but in an accelerated way, just like learning from other people's mistakes accelerates your lessons from mistakes that you could have made. So yeah, can games be good? What's good about games? Now I'll throw another one out there. Interaction with other people. Empathy, teaching empathy in some games where the rules dictate that maybe your partner or competitor has information that both of you need, but there's a barrier, and the rules, you have to share some information that you have with them, but not too much, and you have to guess what they might have and guess what they're trying to tell you based on what you know, and so you're building bridges of kind of building empathy, building, dare I say, telepathy. But teaching teamwork in a way that, oh, what is this person thinking? What is their strategy? What can I do to help them, help me, help them? Those types of games like Hanabi. Hanabi comes to mind because incomplete information, but you're trying to share towards a common goal. There's some good things to be taught. So, games, can they be good? Can they be really valuable to get them out and played by people? Thanks. Let me know what you